Hey everybody, this is Andre here from the Kevin Breeze channel. And in this video, we're going to be doing a comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G and the Samsung Galaxy A51. These days, you can find both of these phones unlocked for GSM carriers. To get more info on the pricing and availability of these devices, or just to learn more about the phones in general, be sure to check the link in the description. These links will take you directly to the phones on Samsung's website, where you can find some nice trade deals that you might not be able to find anywhere else. That being said, let's get started. So the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has a 6.6-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 266, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 84.3%. The Samsung Galaxy A51 has a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 405, and an aspect ratio of 20:9. So between the two here, of course, as you can probably see, the Samsung Galaxy A42 does have a significantly bigger screen, but as far as the quality of the display goes, the Samsung Galaxy A51 is going to be a little bit better. They both have Super AMOLED displays, which is really nice, but the Samsung Galaxy A51 has a 1080p resolution as opposed to 720p for the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. And the PPI for the Samsung Galaxy A51 is a lot higher at 405 versus 266. So in general, if you want a bigger screen, then the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is definitely a lot bigger. But as far as the quality of the display goes, the Samsung Galaxy A51 is going to be a little bit better. Also, if you look real close, you can see that the bezels for the Samsung Galaxy A51 are a little bit smaller, especially when factoring in the style of the front-facing camera. The Samsung Galaxy A51 has a hole punch, whereas the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has a water drop. In my opinion, the hole punch does look a lot better. It looks more modern and more clean in general, whereas the water drop just makes the bezel look bigger, which makes the phone look a little cheaper and a little older. But aside from that, both displays do look good, but I do think the Samsung Galaxy A51 generally just looks a little bit better. Now, as far as the cameras go, the front-facing camera for the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is 20 megapixels, and the Samsung Galaxy A51 has a 32 megapixel front-facing camera. Now, megapixels don't really determine exactly which camera is better. That also depends on other factors like the sensor, but do keep in mind the Samsung Galaxy A51 does have a slightly higher megapixel camera on the front than the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. Now, both of these phones have the same amount of internal storage at 128 gigabytes with microSD expansion. So really, to put that into perspective, iPhones start out at 64 gigabytes of internal storage with no microSD expansion, and these phones have double that, and you can expand the storage with the microSD card. To give you an idea of what this looks like, right now, the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has everything that you might use on a daily basis downloaded onto it. It's only taking up 22% of the storage. Now for the Samsung Galaxy A51, I do typically use this phone a lot to record videos for the channel and that sort of thing. I have an insane amount of media, as you can see here, 103.7 gigabytes of photos and videos, and there's still a little bit of space left. It is really impressive how much this phone can really store. And I don't delete videos either, so this is probably at least a month's worth of videos. So it really gives you a great idea of how much space this phone can really hold. If you are a content creator or you play games that take up a lot of space or anything else really that requires a lot of storage, do keep in mind that you can extend the storage with a microSD card, and that's always helpful too. Now, neither of these phones have wireless charging. Both of these phones do have a fingerprint scanner and face unlock, so that's really nice. Being able to choose between the two different options is always good. Sometimes one works better than the other in certain situations, so having both is always nice. Let's give those a try now. Starting with the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. Let's try that one more time. Very fast and responsive, no problems there. There we go, one more time. In general, these fingerprint scanners are really good, really fast and responsive, and I didn't have any issues with them. And again, both phones do have face unlock, so that's always an option as well. Taking a look at the camera setups, the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has a 48 megapixel rear camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. The Samsung Galaxy A51 has a 48 megapixel rear camera as well, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So really, as far as megapixels goes, these cameras are really similar. Let's try out the image and see how they compare. So this is the normal camera mode for the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. It looks really good, really crisp image. The colors are really on point too. I don't have any complaints there. Going into ultra wide. Again, it looks really good, and a lot of ultra-wide cameras on the lower end, even in the mid-end like this, do get a little bit distorted, but this one really doesn't. The image still looks great. Testing out the macro camera real quick. It really gets right up close there. The details are amazing, and there's no glare. A lot of the newer Samsung phones I have tested in the past don't really handle exposure too well, especially on the macro camera. And sometimes at certain angles, there's a glare that really interrupts the details of the image, but this doesn't do that at all. It still looks really nice, so I am impressed. This is the front-facing camera. I really do like the colors. They're all really balanced well. Nothing's too saturated or too dull. It's just right in the middle where you want it. This is the portrait mode for the front-facing camera. A lot of the lower-end Samsung Galaxy A series phones do have this weird thing with their portrait mode where it just looks like some sort of green screen and it doesn't look good. It looks like you're photoshopped onto a blurry background. But this one is really good. Not only can you control the blur, but no matter what setting you have it at, it's definitely blurred out. And when you turn it all the way up, it's blurred out a lot, but it still looks like it's part of the picture. Whereas in some of the lower end phones and even other phones at the same level, it tends to look like the foreground and the background are not part of the same picture, which always bothered me, but this one doesn't have it. I think it looks really nice. Definitely, if you're using this phone for photography or similar content creation, I still think it's going to be a great option. I don't have any complaints, and I definitely could see myself personally using this a lot. This is the camera mode for the Samsung Galaxy A51. It is very crisp. The image is great. Colors are perfectly balanced. I don't see any problem there, and the exposure is really nice as well. This is the ultra wide. Same thing. The colors are really nice. Everything looks good. I noticed it's a little bit hazy. It's not quite as crisp as the normal camera mode. Whereas with the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G, I noticed the picture does look a little bit better there. But at the same time, this still does look really good. This is the macro mode, as you can see. Same thing, it still looks great. You can actually control the exposure with this little bar right here. I have no complaints here. It looks really good. You can get some really close-up detailed pictures. This is the front-facing camera for the Samsung Galaxy A51. When I'm looking at the picture, two things pop into my mind. First of all, this is a lot sharper than the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G, but at the same time, the colors don't really look as good, in my opinion, and I almost think it's too sharp. I still would definitely say it's a high-quality camera, but there's something about it where the image just looks a little bit too sharp, and the colors, while they're not dull like some of the other phones I've seen, they're just not quite there to the point where I'm satisfied. Let's check out the portrait mode. So the portrait mode does look really nice. Again, unlike some of the lower end and even some of the other mid-range phones, this still does look like it's part of the same picture, so I really do like that. But the same problem I have with this front-facing camera in general, the colors just aren't there for me. That being said, I do think the image is a lot sharper. In a sense, you can see the details a little bit better, but at the same time, it feels a little bit distracting. I'm not sure how visible it is on this video, but in person, there's just something about the sharpness of this image that just bothers me a little. That being said, it's still decent, and if you're using this camera for photography or content creation, something like that, it's most likely not going to make enough of a difference for you not to want to use it. It's still usable, and really the only reason I notice it so much is because I just use the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G that, in my opinion, has a much better front-facing camera. Now, overall, camera-wise, these phones are both very good, and I don't think you would go wrong with either of them if your primary use for a phone is photography or some kind of content creation. But that being said, I do think that I would choose the A42 5G over the A51, mainly because the front-facing camera is a lot better. And personally, when I do content creation type things, I do like to use the front-facing camera from time to time. And since the rear camera is almost equal in my opinion, I do think that the tiebreaker here would be the front-facing camera. And I do think that the A42 5G has a better front-facing camera. Now, it's really close, and for some people might like the sharper image of the A51, but for me, I think the colors on the A42 5G are just a lot better. Now, I'm really curious to see what you guys think. If you have either of these phones or if you've seen them in person yourself, let me know in the comments what you think about the front-facing camera. Do you like a sharper image more, or do you like the better colors? Personally, I like colors a lot more because when I'm editing a photo, I can make the image a little bit sharper. As long as the quality is good and it's not grainy like some of those low quality cameras, I personally prefer better colors over better sharpness, but definitely let me know what you guys think because I really want to know. Now, as far as video goes, both of these phones are capable of shooting 4K. The difference is the Samsung Galaxy A42 can only shoot 4K in the rear camera, whereas the Samsung Galaxy A51 can shoot 4K in both the front and the rear cameras. Now, even if your main use for the phone is to make videos, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I personally have never used 4K on a front-facing camera before, so I don't know if this really does matter to you or not. But if it does, and if your main point of using a phone is for videos, then you might want to keep this in mind. Now, internally, the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is getting 6 GB of RAM with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 750 5G processor. The Samsung Galaxy A51 is getting 4 GB of RAM with the Samsung Exynos 9611 processor. Now, be aware that this is the unlocked variant of the Samsung Galaxy A51, and if you get it through a carrier, it's going to be a different processor that might mean a slight difference in performance. But for the purposes of this video, this specific device right here is the unlocked variant of the Samsung Galaxy A51. Now, as you can see on the Geekbench 5 benchmark scores, the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G definitely outperforms the Samsung Galaxy A51 in processing power by a lot too. In fact, it's almost double the processing power of the Samsung Galaxy A51. So if you're doing really intense activities like video editing and gaming, then you're definitely going to benefit from having the higher processing power of the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. That being said, the Samsung Galaxy A51 does have a great processor as well and really does have the power to do a lot of things. So if you're doing mostly mid-level activities like content consumption and content creation and maybe some photo editing, then the Samsung Galaxy A51 is definitely going to be able to get the job done. But when you go into things like video editing and gaming that require a lot of processing power, then the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G definitely has a big edge. Now, battery-wise, there is a bit of a difference. The Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has a 5,000 mAh battery, whereas the Samsung Galaxy A51 has a 4,000 mAh battery. Now, for normal daily use, both of these batteries are going to hold up fine, and you might not notice a difference if you're plugging in your phone all the time. But if you're on the go and are in situations where you can't keep your phone plugged in and charging all the time, then the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is definitely going to have an advantage. You're going to get a lot more battery life, especially if you're doing more intense activities. Not only does the A42 5G have a little bit of a better processor, but it also has the battery power to keep doing those intense activities for longer. Now, in conclusion, which one of these devices is better? Based on the specs, the features, and the processing power, I would say the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is technically the better device. Now, based on your needs, this might be a little bit different. If your priorities for your device are being able to shoot great videos and having a really nice display, then I would say the Samsung Galaxy A51 is more suited for your needs. This phone definitely does have a bit of a higher quality display with a 1080p resolution instead of 720p and a much higher PPI, so you're going to be able to view videos and consume content a lot better. Not only that, but it shoots 4K in both the rear and the front camera, whereas the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G only shoots 4K in the rear camera and is limited to 1080p in the front camera. Not only that, but even though you're able to shoot in these resolutions, you're not going to be able to view them in a resolution higher than 720p because that is the display of the phone itself. Now that being said, if you're doing intense activities like gaming or video editing that require a lot of processing power, or you're taking a lot of photos, then I would say the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G might be better for you. The Samsung Galaxy A42 5G has a much more powerful processor than the Samsung Galaxy A51. Not only that, but the camera features, in my opinion, look a little bit better than that of the A51, besides video, of course. So if you're taking a lot of photos, especially with the front-facing camera, or if you're doing more intense activities that require a lot of processing power, then in that situation, the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G might be the device for you. But regardless, both are great choices, and especially for that medium, more moderate activity range, both of these devices are going to work out very well for you. Again, if you want some more information on pricing and availability, or just to learn more about the devices themselves, be sure to check the link in the description. These links will take you right to the phones on Samsung's website, and a lot of the time they have some really good trade deals that you might not be able to find anywhere else. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.